doing Python programming for the last couple of years, and I find Python is very good programming language in terms of simplicity or performance wise. And Python is also one of the best programming language if you're planning to learn data science. So I came across this DataCamp Intro to Python for Data Science course is very useful, and it is free also. So let's learn data science with Python, and I will start with the basics over here.
Hi, my name is Philip, and I'll be your host for Introduction to Python for Data Science. It's a long name. I have to stress something. This is not just another Python. Instead, focus will be on Python specifically for data science. At the end of this course, build on powerful ways to store and manipulate data, deploy cool data science tools for your own analysis. Learn Python for data science with video lessons. This one, track exercises. Get your own Python.
So in this online course, on the left hand side, there will be a description or the explanation of the code, and we can write the code in this panel, which is in the right side. So let's say something like read the instructions over here. Experiment in the Python, IPython shell type 5 for example, and add another line of code. So, okay, so just a simple print statement. So let's print. Okay, so this, since it is a right answer, so we can move forward. When to use Python? Python is a pretty versatile language for applications. So I think Python can do all of these. Yes, it's correct. Let's move on. Any comments? Something. Okay, so they're expecting this exact string. Okay. Good. Let's move on. So Python as a calculator. Addition, subtraction. Excuse me. In Python for expert. Like any other programming languages, in Python we have this modulo operator and this exponentiation is also there. So using this double asterisk operator. Let's read the instructions and then solve this problem. Suppose you have $100 which you can invest with 10% return each year. After 1 year, it is, and after 2 years, it is. So the thing here is, so we just need to identify what will be the amount after 7 years. So 1.1 per 1 year. So since it is for 7 years, I just use this exponentiation operator on this 1.1 and 7, and which is multiplied by 100. So that is what the answer. Let's move on. Variable types, and
Here, Python is great.
so this video you can view when you have free time. We will move on then solve the exercises. In Python, a variable is allowed to refer to it. So you can read these things. For assignments, equal is used just like this. That means you are assigning 5 to x. So that is what they are saying. So create. So let's read the instructions to complete this exercise over here. Create a variable saving. Okay, let's do this with the value 100. So I'm storing it. Out the variable by typing print. So just we are trying to print out the value back. Yeah, so that is correct. So let's move on. Calculations with variables. Okay, so what the instructions were? I will directly go to the instructions and then try to solve this problem, because I don't think any explanation is required here. Create a variable factor equal to 1.10. Okay, let's say factor here, it's like 1.10, and then use savings and factor to calculate the amount of money you end up with after 7 years. Okay, let's store that in result as they said. So we have savings multiplied by factor by 7, and let's finally print out that value, which is the result. That's it. So as instructions we have given, got the code over here. Let's submit the answer. Oops, savings is not defined. Okay, so there's a typo. Savings. Let's another problem. The result is not defined. SULT. Sorry, I've got a spelling mistake. So this answer is correct. So let's move on. Other variable types. Yeah, as I mentioned over here in the previous units, we have seen two data types basically. One is int and then the float, where factor was a float variable and then this savings variable was integer. In Python, we have other data types also, like string and boolean. So that is what they're trying to say over here. And then let's read the instructions, which is important to us, and then we'll try to solve this. Create new variable, new string, deck, with the value compound interest. Okay, so let's I don't want to type this interest string, so I will copy. We'll create a variable like deck, and then I'll store it, and then create a variable profitable. Okay, so and assign it to true. So here this variable is boolean type, and then this is a string. That's it, I guess. Let's move on. Yeah. Like any other programming languages, we need not to mention the data type before declaring or initializing any variable, because Python is a strongly, you can say something like dynamic typing language. So while it is interpreting the code, it will decide what type of data it is going to save in that variable. So we need not to worry about the data types. So simply you can take a variable and then store whatever you want into that variable. So depending upon the data you save, that variable type will be decided by the Python interpreter. Let's move on. Guess the type. Okay, yeah, definitely. In Python, we have this type function, which will let us know, I mean, what type of variable it is. Okay, so it's a predefined function in Python. So you can read the documentation in your time. So I will go back to the assignment. Select the type of this variable. To determine A, simply execute type A. Yeah. So we already went ahead and created variables A, B, and C. You can use Python shell. Okay, so we can, variables are already defined here. So let's say type of A. So A is float over here. And let's check B is a string. Type C, which is bool. So let's say where it is. A float, B is string, right? A float, B is string, C is boolean. So this is the correct answer. Okay, so let's submit it. Great. Let's move on. Operations with other types. See, Python is a very smart programming language. When you try to add two integer variables, it will sum those two values. But when you try to add two strings, and it will concatenate the both the strings, and it won't try to sum up them. So which is not possible basically. So I can say something like Python is a very smart programming language. So depending upon your data, it will try to apply the operation. Okay, so let's move on to this instructions section and then try to solve this. Calculate product of savings and factors, and store the result in year one. Okay, so let's check year one is equal to savings to factor. Okay, that's it. Uh, I'm trying to print that value here. Then what is saying? Assign some of descend and descend to a double descend. Okay, I don't get it. Calculate sum of descend and descend. and store that result in a new variable, double descent. Okay, so let's take double store plus double descent. Okay, so let's print out the value. That's it. Here, if you notice here, savings is integer value and then factor is floating point. And when you multiply integer and then floating, like any other programming language, you will be getting the highest one, which is floating. So let's see this. Okay, so did we miss anything? Yes, seems like we missed. Dot. I will calculate sum of descent and store the result in new variable level descents. Dot. Okay, so what is the mistake here? Make sure to print out. Okay, did they ask type? Okay, sorry. So I thought we just need to. Okay, so let's see this here. Okay, yes. See, as I mentioned previously, the type of year is floating point over here. And float here, and then the double descendant has compound interest and then the compound interest. So that means when you are trying to add string with another string, it will concatenate both the strings. So that's it. So let's move on. And before that, let's read what he mentioned here. Not nice. Notice how descending plus descending causes compound interest and compound interest to be vested together. That's true. Let's move on. Type conversion. Use the plus operator to paste together two strings can be very useful in building custom messages. Yeah, that's true. I mean, if you want to, yeah, that's what as I mentioned earlier, if you want to add two strings, we can use this plus operator. Okay. Okay, he is asking us to hit the submit button first, and then let's see the error. Okay, so what is the mistake over here? Print I started with something. So type error. Can't convert int object to a string implicitly. This is the error here. And in line number 6. So dollar savings and something like this. Okay, so this is the problem. So how to fix that? So he's saying, see, basically what they are trying to do over here is savings is integer value, and then they're trying to add, I mean, with the string. So to avoid that, first of all, we need to convert this integer value into a string. Okay, so then you will be able to add that to a string, isn't it? So in Python, we have this type conversion operators, which is like string of any integer value, anything, whatever you want to convert into a string. So that would solve the problem. Yeah. So let's try to convert this str of similarly str of this result. Okay, I hope this could solve the problem. And coming to here, this pi string is the string value, since it is, I mean, mentioned in the double quotes. If you want to convert that into a real floating point, let's do y float equal to foot of y string. That's it. So it will convert that value. So if you want to print and see that type of y, you can see that. Oops. Okay, I mean they are not expecting this one to. I mean I just wrote this line for our understanding. Let's remove that and then submit. So this is correct. So if you want and see here, check the values. Second, let me come back. You have to print also. Right. See, my float is not defined. Okay, anyhow, this Python shell is not getting the values from here. Okay, so anyhow, you can do something like this. Your understanding, and I will copy and paste this code. Oh, sorry. Let's check the type now. This float now. So using this float operator, we can convert any string or integer value into a float. Okay, so let's move on. Can Python handle everything? What is trying to say? Now that you know something more about combining different sources of information, have a look at the 4 Python exercises expressions below. Which one of these will throw an error? You can always copy and paste this code. Okay, so he's asking us to check it. Hmm. Yes, definitely. This is there is no problem with this because I mean he's we are converting integer into a string and then trying to add it. Okay, so if you want to check that, we can do that. Let's see this. So I can add integers like 5 to strings. I said, hey, yeah, this is also possible because I mean you are multiplying string with the integer. That means this string will be repeated this number of times. You can see that. So that means I said, hey, hey, hey. So this is possible. And the correct answer to this multiple choice exercise is no, this is not. This is false. I mean, this is not possible because we are trying to add the problem. And here they are trying to add true with false. Okay, so let's see what will happen when we add two Boolean values. I'm not very sure about it, but okay. See, basically true is 1, false is 0. So 0 plus 1 is 1 always. And let's add true plus true. What will happen? Just for our understanding. 2, that means 1, 1 plus 1. Okay. So except this answer 3, everything is possible in Python. So let's submit that answer. Great. Yeah. Skip this one. So we successfully completed this Python basics module, and let's take a break and start with the next module, which is which is Python lists. So this is going to be very, I mean, one of the interesting topics in Python. Let's take a break and get back to this topic.